This is the first in a series of videos on how to start your own website. This particular video is focusing on how to purchase a domain name. We're going to focus on the site sedomainservices.com. There are other companies out there that also offer domains and hosting and other web-related services. This is just the particular one we're trying today. Before we get started, though, one thing that you need to keep in mind when you are selecting a company to deal with is, if you notice this support number, this company and many other companies have 24-hour live support. That can be extremely critical when trying to resolve any types of problems or issues that you have. And so when you do select a company to use for your registrar, keep that in mind. Make sure they have 24-hour live support. All of them will have also email and some sort of a ticket system for problems, but having that live person makes all the difference. Pretty much all the different sites are going to be very similarly set up, so you won't have too many difficulties if you use another site to duplicate what we're doing today. So we're going to go to domain names, and we're going to go to register domains. Okay, now it's pulling up on that. We're going to just pick a name out of random. Let's try largedogs.com. So we're going to search now for largedogs.com to see if it's available. And unfortunately, largedogs.com is already taken. Now when you select a domain name, generally the shorter or easier to remember name the better. What we're going to do now is, let's say that you decided that I absolutely want to have largedogs.com. That's what the WHOIS listing does. It's going to tell us who owns it, and you'll be able to negotiate your own deal with that individual for buying the domain name. Keep in mind, though, that domain names, when you purchase them that way, can be very expensive. Certainly several $100s wouldn't be unusual, and it could be in the hundreds of thousands, depending on if they're using the domain or how popular it is. And if you notice here, this particular domain name is owned by a person named Eric Moss in Illinois. So basically, we're going to try some other names, and we're going to say large dogs in boots. I'm going to search for that name. And fortunately, that name's available, so we're going to add that name. And we're going to continue to registration. Now, the registration information is going to tell the registrar, ICANN, who basically owns the domain name. A lot of times you'll have these pop-up screens trying to sell you the .org or the .net or the .info version. We're going to skip that, but if you did want to have those, you could obviously buy those at the same time. So anyway, on our domain registration, we're going to put our name in. We'll go with Joe Customer. And Joe's email is joe@joecustomer.com. Company name is Anyone's Business. And then we're going to basically certify that we are the legal registrant of that name. Address 123 Elm Street. I'll just pick up a town. I'll go with Roswell, Georgia 30076. And the phone number would be 404-555-1212. Select next. Now what this is basically done now, as you can see, as the registration contact, that's where the name is. You can select what length of time you want to register the domain for. Default in this one's 2 years, but you could have 1 through 10 years, whatever you would like. Go to next. Now one thing that's changed in the last several years is that you can get standard registration, which is normally what people have gotten, and that allows, though, anyone to run the WHOIS query and see who you are. The private registrations mask that information, so if you had a website and you didn't want your name on it, you would register privacy third party, and this would kind of protect other people from seeing your site altogether. And then the last thing is activating the domain. In this case, you can add other services like email or website hosting. We'll deal with some of those in a future video. And now, essentially, we have it in our shopping cart. Now, if we click Now, Continue to Shopping Cart, it's going to ask you for your account information so that you can purchase it in your own account, pay for it with credit card or whatever method that you have. One other thing to add that's extremely important is always have everything registered in your name and your account. A lot of web designers or hosting companies want to keep control of the domain name. That works fine as long as your relationship's great with them. I recommend always having your domain hosting and your domain registration in your own account, so that essentially if you need to take your business elsewhere, you have control over all the details. That basically concludes where we want to be today with registering a domain name. Like I said, this is the first step to getting your website on the internet, and we'll tell you in future videos how to set up web hosting and all the other types of things that you might need to know. Thank you very much for watching.